And welcome back to another episode of the Dynasty Mind. My name is Chris Chung, staff writer for FakePigskin.com. Forgot to mention that in my previous episodes. And I'm continuing our breakdown of our Thrilla versus Godzilla league, a massive league composed of really great Dynasty minds, some of my mentors and friends who we finally got a league together. It's a massive 24-man league with 2 copies per player. And let's get down to it. Today we are breaking down Tom Finelli's Rockets Raccoons. A great poster. Rockets, one of my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy. We'll also get to see if his team is one of my favorites. Looking through his roster up and down, you can see it's a very well-balanced team. The only area of concern I have immediately as I scan through the roster are the tight ends, because he only has 2 and one of them is actually a free agent. I'm unsure if he drafted Barnage before or after he was cut. I believe he was cut already at the time, since this draft took place after the original NFL draft. Still, I guess Tom has great hope that Gary the Goat Barnage will find a job sometime soon. So let's look at the roster from top to bottom. Ryan Tannehill and Russell Wilson are his starting quarterback. It's fantastic to have a top 5 or even a arguably maybe like at least a top 7 Dynasty quarterback, young quarterback who is able to use his legs as well as have a fantastic deep throws, anticipatory throws. I'm a fan of Russell Wilson both as a fantasy asset as well as in reality. But as we focus on this fantasy spin, the dynasties specifically, having Tannehill as a backup is you can do much worse than that, and I believe Tannehill is showing signs of development. He may have plateaued, but even if he is, he's still within the realm of a top 15 quarterback fantasy-wise. Looking at his running backs, this is a great collection. I feel that Tom did a good job in mixing veterans with rookies. We see Fournette, an exciting rookie, taken in the early parts, both in the NFL and now in this fantasy draft as well. And Kareem Hunt, CJ Prosise, all to just have a great stash, who the whole Dynasty realm are excited about their foreseeable future. We'll just see if they continue to pan out. He seemed to have locked down the Jaguars backfield with Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon. Not a bad strategy, considering that the Jacksonville Jaguars team is a bit of a concern when it comes to injuries. But he also took 2 veterans, which I really do feel that they are underrated this year. They may be short-term solutions for Tom's team, but they definitely are plug-and-plays in Jonathan Stewart and Frank Gore. Both running backs are overlooked in the Dynasty community for some of the reasons that are valid, mainly concerning that Frank Gore could be on his last year, and Jonathan Stewart is only there to train his understudy of Christian McCaffrey. Still, in the past 2 years, both Gore and Stewart has shown incredible durability, sustainability. Maybe not so much Stewart, but compared to what Stewart was in his early years, the latest 3 years of Stewart seems to be giving you more than you've ever could imagine getting from Mr. quote-unquote injury prone. Same goes for Gore. There's some concern that his touchdown rate may go down, but at the same time, he's still a weapon both in the receiving as well as the rushing. He doesn't look any worse for the wear. So when those two times are up, it's time for Fournette and Kareem Hunt to step in. So Tom really has built a running back core that is both now and now. Looking at his wide receiver core, this is fascinating to me because this feels something that similar to my process of stashing those wide receivers early, as well as getting those receivers depth often in the mid rounds. And you'll see we have AJ Green, Jarvis Landry, Julian Edelman, Cameron Meredith, all who are starters now. You can plug and play and expect them to produce right off the bat in early September through October, assuming no injuries. And then for his depth, you see Kamar Aiken, Brandon Marshall, Jeremy Maclin. Wow, these are fantastic flex options, and even startable in certain instances when perhaps a Landry or an Edelman faces tough competition. So top to bottom, I feel that this is a very strong wide receiver core. And even when injury strikes, you see that he's not relying on rookies or relying on hopefuls. He actually has a depth of receivers that are able to step in right away and expect a low end, perhaps a low end wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 production. So it's very well insulated as far as that I feel that this team can go far with this wide receiver core. Braxton Miller and Cordell Patterson are not bad gambles. I don't expect much from both, but at the same time, I do believe that Tom drafted them quite late in our long, arduous draft. Again, tight ends were a main concern. Delaney Walker is his only tight end. Not a bad tight end to have. This is a top 7 or 8 tight end for the past few years. People continue to underrate him. My concern is that this might be the year that he's actually losing not only targets, but also taking a step back as age is catching up to him. But until we see a drop off from his production, we can only assume that Delaney will produce as a top 10 tight end for the foreseeable future. His depth, he'll be attacking the waiver wire, which is one of the harder positions to attack in a waiver wire for tight ends, because you'll probably be looking for matchup plays, maybe a Jesse James, maybe you're looking for a Xavier Grimble, so really names that are long shots to rely on. But it's, if all the positions and I only have to worry about tight ends, that's not a bad place to be worried about. So let's look at his draft. Breaking down Tom's draft, we see that he starts off with really a strong mix of youth, established players, and just really a strong collection of players that you would really want for your dynasty team in a startup. I wonder what happened to OJ Howard. Perhaps he's stashed or traded later on. I didn't see it on his roster, but if OJ Howard was part of his roster, he would actually be okay at all 4 positions, which is fantastic. I think Tom has a contender team that is also built for the future. But going back to talking about the draft, if you look at the first 5 or 6 picks, those are players that I would want for my dynasty team at any time. OJ Howard may have been taken a little early, but it's a time where people are really picking off all the rookies. As I come to find, I had to wait on just the youth myself and had to forego a lot of the rookie studs or high pick rookies. I can't call them studs yet because they're not playing in the NFL. But even in the mid rounds, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can see there's our solid players that won't hurt your team, and you're not risking anything because they've done it in the NFL before, and they will give you some semblance of production that you can rely on from on a weekly matchup. There are a couple of names. Again, like I mentioned, Stewart and Gore, fantastic value. This is a late round pick, and yet he can pick off even the 14th, 15th, and 17th round, he picks out 3 startable players, and he has no worries about losing his starters or anything else. Now, a couple of names here. I see Ryan Switzer, and also Aaron Jones and OJ Howard. They seem to be missing from his... Oh, they are in the taxi squad. I see now. Okay, fantastic. So, we have talents top to bottom, present and future. Altogether, I think this is a solid team. He will be safe in terms of... Not safe, but very, very much can react well just from his depth to injury concerns or ineffectiveness to 1 or 2 players. And like I said, this team, it looks to be built for present and the future. Well then, Tom, I am very much afraid of your team, and I'm from where I'm standing at this early juncture in the season, I think you have a contending team that it will go into the playoffs at the least. All right, so this is another episode of A Dynasty Mind. Hope you all enjoyed my breakdown, and I will continue on with another team soon.